So if any of your tackle boxes look like this, you're doing it wrong. With so many different color choices in the industry anymore, you have to be asking yourself, what are the right colors to throw? And the real answer to that is there's so many wasted colors out there because it's all what the industry wants you to buy. They want you to get lost in the amount of colors and start thinking you need one of every single color that they make. That couldn't be further from the truth. So in this video, I'm gonna break down the colors you need season by season so that way you can be better prepared out there on the water and you can stop wasting money on tackle. And at the end of this video, I'll even break down the best 4 colors out there for all year round so that way if you have limited income, you can get the exact colors you need and be prepared no matter where you go and no matter when you go. So I figured we'd start in the winter months for the video because we are in the winter. So if you see this video later on, the reason I started with winter was because I started filming it in the winter time. And so what colors do you need for the winter time months? Well, you have to look at the conditions. First off, water is typically clearer in the winter time because the water is typically lower and kind of conditions are stable. And your fish also have a low metabolism. That's really important because that means they don't have to feed a whole lot. So the colors you're going to want to throw are going to be your natural shad colors, your green pumpkins, you know, anything that looks really natural, your natural color craws, because those are the things that are going to match everything else that's going on and capitalize when those fish are willing to feed. They'll blend in with the watercolor and just get you more bites. Now, if you get a little bit of high water, that's where you're going to want to go to more of your whites and your red craws. Your red craws are really going to start to pick up starting in the winter months. And I don't know why they love the color red, but they do love the color red. So if you get dirty water, red is going to be a must-have. Now, I do have to throw a disclaimer out there. I did mention green pumpkin. I will mention green pumpkin in every single one of the seasons because green pumpkin is just a color that you have to have. If you look across everybody's websites, there's like 30 different kinds of green pumpkin out there. There's green pumpkin black flake, green pumpkin red flake, green pumpkin magic, green pumpkin goby, green pumpkin shad. Like there is green pumpkin out the wazoo. What you have to do is find a green pumpkin that you like. I like green pumpkin black flake. That's my go-to. That's what I look for across all of the boards, whether it be soft plastics, whether it be chatterbaits, spinnerbaits, whatever. I just like green pumpkin, and so that's why I picked that specific color. It's all about having confidence in the specific color that you like. It doesn't matter what color it is, you have to find your confidence color in that lineup and just get that specific one, because you don't want to have 2 or 3 of every kind of green pumpkin, get really, really confident in green pumpkin red flake, and then all of a sudden you only have 1 or 2 of them and you lose one of them, because then all of a sudden you're scrambling when those fish would realistically eat green pumpkin black flake or green pumpkin magic or green pumpkin watermelon, whatever. But you don't have the confidence in that bait. So you limit your options to make yourself better on the water. So that's all there is for winter fishing. I like to keep my colors very, very simple for winter. I like my natural colors. Now, that's a lot different than the springtime. The springtime is when your fish are starting to come shallow. You know, in the winter, they were pretty stable where they were at. They found their wintering holes, that's where they're staying. Springtime is all about movement. Water's warming up, so their metabolism is starting to pick up, so fish are needing to feed. They're really aggressive because they're getting ready to spawn and they're moving. And so what does that mean for you? That means I'm not going to go with as natural colors as I was prior. Now don't get me wrong, if you have an extremely clear body of water, natural colors are probably still going to be your option. But for most of the country, now is going to be all about your standout colors. This is going to be about your reds specifically, your chartreuses in white, your green pumpkin chartreuses, because that's what those fish are eating. They're getting fired up, they're coming shallow to spawn, and they want food in their face. And with those fish moving, this is also their dumbest time of year, because you have to remember most of those fish lived super deep or offshore all winter long, and most anglers weren't running into those fish, and so there wasn't a lot of pressure. There's even less people on the water in the wintertime. And so as they're coming shallow, the color options become awesome because you can throw your stupid colors and get those fish to eat it no matter where you go across the country, whether you're on Okeechobee, Gunnersville, anywhere. So again, that's going to be your chartreuses and whites, your reds, your black and blues, because your water is going to be off color a little bit more with that high water, because as we know, springtime means rain. And so as you get these influxes of water, your water dirties up and you need more standout colors. That's the key there, is more standout colors in the springtime. So now we're going to transition into the summertime. The summertime is all about a little bit of off color water, because you have the algae blooms, those fish, their metabolism is high. Those fish are living offshore, typically in a little bit deeper water. And so you have fish that are now stable, again, like they were in the wintertime, but with more colored water, and they have to feed. So they still need to feed as much as possible, but there's a lot more pressure out there on the water because everybody who's out there for the springtime, those fish got really, really beat up. And now there's a lot of boats out there, people just trying to enjoy fishing in the summertime. So what does that mean for your color options? You're back to your naturals, and you're also at your standout colors. So I will be throwing my parrots, my random colors, your clown colors, because with those fish being so pressured, they've seen a lot of the stereotypical chartreuse and white. You know, all the colors everybody threw in the springtime, those fish are tired of it. And so now you have to go to the really standout colors or the really natural colors, with one exception, and that is Morning Dawn. I don't know why, but Morning Dawn is an amazing summertime color when it comes to soft plastics. It's not your cherry red, but it is a nice light pink color that those fish absolutely love. And so I'm going to throw maybe 4 or 5 different colors, and that's what's going to be the majority of what's in my box and on my deck in the summertime. So now we're getting geared up for the fall. The fall is all about moving and transitioning again, and those fish are feeding up because up north we have the winter coming on. Down south you just have all of those shad super, super shallow, and so those fish are gang busting bait all day long. So what does that mean for your colors? That means you have to have your natural shad looking colors that stand out just a little bit. You can still get by with your supernatural colors, your electric shad, your natural shads, your clear water shads, but I like to throw something a little bit different in there. And you can do it with dyes, you can do it with a bunch of different things, but you just want your bait to stand out a little bit. This could be your solid whites, but the key is having baitfish oriented patterns. Now if you don't have a lot of baitfish in your lake, this is going to be your crawfish color patterns, because in the fall there's still a lot of crawfish out, but I like to stand it out a little bit where I have those crawfish with the orange belly, crawfish with a chartreuse green belly, something that makes it stand out a little bit, because again those fish are really, really feeding up for the winter time. But the key again is finding colors that you like and stick with it. Don't buy a bunch of crawfish colors that are orange and brown and then have one of every color. Just find one that's orange and brown that you like and throw that. Or get a few orange and browns and a few chartreuses and browns. Don't go spreading it super, super thin across the board. You want to have your colors dialed down to the ones that you like in the colors that you like, and get a bunch of them in that color, so that way you're not losing a bunch, and that way it keeps your boxes minimized too, so you're not taking up a bunch of space and having colors on the shelf that are going to be there till you're 85. Now I did promise I was going to break down the best 4 colors for the entire year at the very end. And so the first one that I'm going to talk about is green pumpkin, because again, it's just hard to beat green pumpkin. Next is going to be black and blue. No matter what variation of black and blue, no matter what shades of black and blue is still an amazing color. You have your chartreuse and white is amazing across the board. And again, guys, this is just a color reference, because hard baits don't usually come in just straight chartreuse and white. They don't usually come in black and blue, but you have to find your colors that match up with that. And so if it's a crankbait, go with a darker color crankbait and find that, find one that matches that darker color. And then finally, your Morning Dawn. Morning Dawn is an amazing color that most people don't throw just because they don't think it's going to work. It's that light pink colored worm or that light pink colored bait. We're starting to make it in all kinds of different baits, your chatterbaits, your spinnerbaits, etc., because it works so good. But those are my top 4 colors. So now what we're going to do is we're going to break down into a short Bible study. So if you want to listen to the good word of the Lord, stick around. But if you want to see another fishing video on baits that you need to know about, it's right up here. But thank you guys so much for watching. Let's go break down the Bible. So as promised, we are going to do a short Bible verse. And today what we're going to discuss is Leviticus 19:18, because it's kind of sums up a problem that we have in society even to this day that I want to talk a little bit about today. And so Leviticus 19:18 says, "You shall not take vengeance or bear a grudge against any of your people, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord." So I feel like that's kind of a big one, because growing up as a kid, I used to know every one of my neighbors by their first names. I used to play with all the neighbor kids. The adults used to look after me. But in today's world, I feel like I don't even know my neighbors. I feel like I don't even know their first names, let alone anything about them. You know what I mean? I'm definitely not loving them as myself because I don't even know who they are. And I feel like that's a really, really big problem today with social media and everything that we have going on. We kind of neglect all of the people around us, and we definitely forget to love them as ourselves, because we get so caught up in the hustle and bustle of everyday life that we kind of just push everybody aside, you know what I mean? Whether it's driving down the street and seeing somebody with a flat tire, whether it's watching somebody, you know, an elderly person try to bag their groceries and they can't even carry them to their car, you know, all the little things that you see on a daily basis, and you think to yourself, I should help that person, but you don't. You know, we have a new year, new me, right? No. Same you, but let's try to improve on all the little things we do on a daily basis. So you never know what somebody else is going through, and you in your situation would want somebody else to reach out and help you, or at least offer it. You know what I mean? And so moving forward in 2025, let's try to love thy neighbor as ourselves, and not just the person living directly next to us or across from us, but anybody you see in your neighborhood, anybody you see in your town, anybody you see at Walmart. You know, help the people around you, because in turn, that's what life is all about. It's about helping people, leading people to Christ, and doing the best you can in your everyday life. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button to follow on with the daily content. But God bless every one of you guys, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next video.